Starting.
It says we're live.
We are live. Good morning. Today, Shana and I are going to be doing a presentation on this Family Financial Workshop. Welcome, everyone. Say hi, Shana.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Good to have you with us this morning. We've got some folks on vacation. Daniel and Chad are on vacation, and we're trying to hold down the fort. So anyway, welcome aboard. Glad to have you with us. Just a couple of housekeeping things. We've got a couple upcoming events we wanted to make you aware of, and then we'll start our presentation. I'll turn the time over to Shana at that time. Just want to remind everybody we're still getting our great clients. You guys are still referring folks to us, and we appreciate that. We still are trying to keep track of the Roaring 20s, 2020s as we're calling it, referral program. So anybody that still refers us, even if it's a virtual meeting, or getting tickets for the drawing at the end of the year that the party will have in January of 2021. Hopefully, by then this COVID thing is slowed down to the point where we can gather together again. So we've got lots of events planned. We are going to start doing dinner events. We've got one coming up next Tuesday and Thursday in Dublin at the Fishery, which is a brand new restaurant, and we're not having a lot of response. It may well be that we're not comfortable yet. We understand that. We're going to provide the opportunity. If it doesn't work out, then we'll keep moving ahead with what we're doing virtually. But if you have a desire to come next Tuesday night, the 30th, or Thursday night, down to Dublin and bring a friend with you. It's a great restaurant. Just call Pat and let her know. We are having some response, but not really what we anticipated, and we understand why maybe folks are still reluctant to come out. Also, as we started the year, this year with our referral program, we talked about quarterly drawings for folks that had actually referred people through us. And again, you guys are really good to us. We've had folks refer to us, several folks this year already. So we're going to have a drawing for a $100 gift card the first week of July, and that will be for all those folks that actually referred us to people in the second quarter. So that's the second quarter drawing. Other events that we're going to have are all double tokens. So if you bring clients or refer clients to come and sit in any of our virtual meetings, whether it be educational events or meetings like today, which is a seminar, or come out to the restaurants. We're going to be in July, again, the 2nd in Dublin, and July 14th and 16th. We have booked Natalia's, a small room. We'll keep it a small crowd, less than 15 people. So if anybody's interested in coming to Natalia's, their invitations will be going out shortly, July 14th and 16th in the evening for dinner and a presentation, if you're comfortable doing so. And then again in August, on the 4th and 6th, at Props over in Warner Robins. So we do have them scheduled. They're exclusive to clients. Bring a friend, and you'll get double tokens for doing so. So if you're interested in doing that, if we're not comfortable, we won't pursue it. As things change, obviously we don't want to put anybody in harm's way. That's not our point whatsoever. But we thought maybe the pent-up demand was there. People get out and go have a good meal. But if it's not, we understand. We'll do something virtually instead. So thanks again for being on board with us today. I'm going to turn the time over to Shana now as we begin our conversation on this. This is a presentation rich with a lot of material that you can share with your family, with your children and grandchildren, and you and your wife, or if you're single yourself, you can look at some of the data here and some of the things we're going to share with you, and we can all be a little better at planning and preparing for our future. And so we've got some pretty good information, and this is a handout available that Shana will explain to you, that you can, a workbook. It's actually a workbook that goes along with a program that you can fill out. So Shana, why don't you get us going here?
All right, so I'm going to share, this is going to show up in your chat box, but this is the workbook that goes along with the presentation. So if you go into your chat box, you should just be able to click on it and download it. If you're having issues, don't stress. Just shoot us a text or a message, and we'll make sure we get it to you via email or some other source. I'm going to show you briefly what it looks like. So this is the front cover of it, and inside it, I want you to really think about these questions that they ask you, defining what wealth means to you, some stories you'd like to share with your family. And we're going to go through some of these that I'm going to ask you about in the presentation. But think about these and write them down. And then Bill's going to go over this part with coming up with a family mission statement. And then any kind of thoughts you have as you're doing it, you can put on that last page. Right, now let's get into the presentation here. Hey, Bill, you want to turn off your camera so we've got more space?
Turn off my camera?
Yeah, just until it's your turn.
Sorry.
It's okay. All right, well, obviously we don't have cell phones right now, but we are going to try to hold up most of the questions until the end. But I am going to ask you questions throughout it that I'd like for you guys to help participate in by answering in the chat box. And anytime we talk about anything that's even financially related, we have to share a disclosure, just letting you know that this is for educational purposes. We're not selling any specific products. And for those of you that don't know us here at Security First, we've got 4 advisors. We've got Chad on the left, and then Bill, and then Daniel, and then myself. I'm Shana. And we're going to talk about wealth and how we can have success in every generation, and how to utilize us as your financial professionals in gaining and achieving those goals. So this is where I'm going to ask you a couple questions now that I want you guys to answer in the chat box. The first one is, why do you think talking about money with your family is important? And how do you feel like that will contribute to a successful financial future? So while you're thinking about that, I'm going to share this pretty profound statistic. 70% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the 2nd generation. Gone, all of it. And a stunning third by the 3rd generation. And that was pretty alarming to me, that people will conceive their money and it be gone, most of it by the 2nd generation. Right, nobody's responding. Why do you think it's important to talk about money with your family? Anyone? Nobody. Well, I guess you guys just think about it. I have 9 kids, and so it's super important that I have to talk about that with my kids, because they're going to have families in the future and going to have to be able to make it in college and as they're grown up. So how do we have these conversations? Help them plan for the future. Thank you, Gary. Make my day. Yes, you want to help them plan for their future. So how do we have these conversations? These are some simple conversation starters, and as you read through these, you can see that none of these are financially related, but they provoke a deeper level of thinking and can lead to those kinds of conversations. And these kinds of conversations don't need to be a sit down, I've got to talk to so-and-so about this specific thing. You've already planned for your mind. Good job, Chloe. But you could be sitting around the dinner table. You could be making dinner. You could be fishing with your grandson. Try to have these deep, meaningful conversations with them. I firmly believe this. Susan Beacham said, if you don't teach your kids the ABCs of money, you'll end up with D and E, debt and entitlement later on. And this is true, and we are seeing this happen. We have probably one of the most entitled up-and-coming generations the world has ever seen. So how can we teach them these things? Well, first of all, we've got to figure out about what we value. Oh, Eddie Mae, I only have one son, so he needs to know. That's right, he does need to know where all your insurance and things are. You're right, Eddie Mae. So I want you to look at these questions, and you don't have to answer all of them, but pick one and respond in the chat box how you feel about saving money. Well, how do you feel about saving money? What do you think is comfortable to go into debt for? And how has income influenced your life? Because you need to identify your values before you can share them with your children. Some people feel like it's fine to go into debt to buy a big TV. I don't. I feel like it's okay to go into debt for purchasing a home, but I don't feel like that's an unnecessary debt I believe in. What do you feel is worth saving for? Well, if you don't teach them these values and have these conversations like this, then they are going to have the debt and entitlement. I like this picture of this mom sitting on the porch with this little girl. Sherry Dukes, you have talked with things that worked for you. Oh, yep, your generation don't seem to be working for the next. Okay. Even if you don't have kids, I bet you've got nieces and nephews. You know, there's still people you can influence. You can be a good influence for them. And I have 9 kids, and so I feel like I have these kinds of conversations with my kids. It's like, well, so-and-so has this or so-and-so has that. But it really doesn't matter how large your family is. I mean, I wouldn't go just buy a new car just to have a new car. I like to run mine till they're dead, till they die. But I've seen families with only 1 or 2 kids who live far beyond their means, and they're teaching their children the same principles. I think it's important to involve your kids in family discussions. Now, like I said, you don't have to have your own kids. This could be your nieces, your nephews, or your grandkids. One of the things I like to do is I like to take a child with me when I go grocery shopping so that they can learn what it is, learn how to shop. I mean, they're going to have to buy their own food someday. Learn to find the best deals, learn what things cost, learn which store has the best prices for the items. Let them participate in budget meetings. That's something we've done with our kids as well. You know, this is how much our mortgage is. This is how much our food bill is. You know, this is how much money we're bringing in. Bring them to the bank. Bring them to our office. You know, something Bill's going to mention later is we would love to sit down. We don't mind at all helping to have conversations about finances with your families. That is great, Gary. Gary says they have 2 grown sons, and we talked about saving money the first job they each had. Pay yourself first, 10% from each check. I like that, Gary. That is a great, great, great idea. Okay, this one now you don't have to share one of these because you may not want to, but I do think it's important to share with your loved ones. You know, I think this is what I hear from my kids. You don't understand me. You've never been through what I've been through. You've never made mistakes. You've never struggled. Well, that isn't true. And I think if we kind of have these conversations with our kids and we can tell them about a time that we didn't do so hot, that we can share that, you know, I learned this from this, and I really wish that you wouldn't make the same mistake. And you don't have to share everything you've ever done in your life that's wrong. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, you know, it's important to let them know that you're human and that they will feel comfortable coming to talk to you when they have those similar mistakes, or maybe want to before they make that mistake. Teach them the ABCs of investing. I'm kind of a visual person and I like numbers. So when I saw this about teaching kids about compound interest, you know, an example that I read recently was you have a 25-year-old person, and let's say they save $5,000 for 10 years at 8% interest. By the time that person is 65 years old, they will have over $700,000. Well, let's say they waited until they were 35 before they started saving money. Let's say at 35, they saved $5,000, but they had to save that for 30 years. The same interest rate, and at age 65, they had just over $550,000. Well, the first person at age 25 only invested $50,000. And that second person who waited till they were 35, they had to invest $150,000. Huge difference in that scenario. Another option you can do is to help them follow specific companies. You know, the fun ones are always like Google or Amazon or Apple. But I think you also need to help them realize that it's not a quick, you know, gambling. It's not like quick earnings. You know, it's easy come. It's also easy go. I think you need to talk about the market ups and downs as well. And they definitely need to open a savings or an investment account. You did talk to your niece about taking advantage of the company match in 401k. Good job, Wanda. Absolutely. I think that's one thing that a lot of people make the mistake of is they don't max up the match that their job is going to put into their 401ks. That is free money, and that is just going to compound and give you money in retirement. All right, so teach your kids or nephews or nieces or grandkids through allowances. I don't know if I'd call them allowances. Oh, Gary, the secret of compound interest is apparently still a secret. Most people don't believe the math. You're absolutely right. I agree. I think we need to show them as many examples as possible, and maybe some real life ones that we've experienced, so they do know it's real. They may or may not believe it still, but you're right. I think my kids should earn the money. I'm not just going to hand them the money, but whatever money that they do have, I think there needs to be 3 buckets. One for spending, because they're going to want to spend something. We all do. It's fun. Another bucket for saving and investing. I think it's important to have some short-term saving goals and some long-term saving goals. And I think the 3rd bucket is really important to charity, because it helps them put someone else's needs above their own and helps to make them less entitled. Now, if you have a teenager in your life, it doesn't necessarily mean it's your own. You can help them manage their money. Maybe you can work with their aunt, or actually your sibling, if it's your niece and nephew. So, or maybe it's your son or your daughter. Maybe you help pay for their phone, or they pay you to use a phone, or utilize a car, or whatever the case may be. Help them be responsible for some of their expenses. And I hope by the time that they are college students that we have done our job, because college kids are really preyed upon by credit card companies. And before they're even out of college, most of them are often in unnecessary debt and have already started habits of spending beyond their needs. But we should still be having these conversations while they're in college to help them continue to learn these skills to help them move along. And this last one that I'm going to talk about is supporting a boomerang kid. Now, this could be, a college kid come back home. This could be a grandson. This could be a niece or a nephew. This could even be like a grown child with grandkids that need to move in. Whatever the case is, it can be a pretty sticky kind of situation. You need to set some ground rules and expectations of how that's going to work and how we're going to help them get on their feet again. All right, now I'm going to turn the time over to Mr. Bill.
Well, I guess I need to do the video, huh? Y'all want to see my mugshot? There you go. Thanks, Shana. That was a great job. This subject has always been of importance to me, and we just don't teach in school anything about finances and managing money like we ought to. And I think our society is showing the lack of that, and that's too bad. But really, it should be probably done in the home. And I encourage you, if you don't already have conversations with your adult children and grandchildren, that you should do so. We're talking basically about money, but we're talking about values. This is a value is something that we cherish, and if we really value what money can do for us and how it can provide for us and our family, then we have a different approach to what we think about it. I recall a story a friend of mine told a few years ago. He had a teaching opportunity with a couple of his teenage children. They were out shopping on a Saturday, and of course, like all young kids, they're going to find something they wanted. And one of the daughters saw something that she wanted in the window, and Dad said, "Well, I just don't have enough money with me today to do that." And that sometimes is a conversation. Well, I'm not really wanting to buy it for you. But she persisted, and he said, "No, we're just not going to do it today, short of cash." And she said, "Well, why don't you just go over to one of those machines over there? There was a ATM machine, and put your card in there, and the money comes right out." That's her opinion was, if you put the card in there, the money's going to come out. So he had an opportunity to teach her, yeah, it's not quite like that. There's got to be money in the account that you put in there before you can take money out. But in her mind, all you had to do is put a card in there, and boom, dollars dropped out. So we have teaching moments like that, and we all should take advantage of them and help our family understand the importance of managing money properly. We sit on the other side of the fence where we actually have to transfer wealth from one generation to another, and we could tell you story after story, both positive and negative, about what happens when wealth transfers to the next generation. And the statistics that Shana shared with us earlier are very true. People don't seem to take an approach of how sacred the money is, and how important that legacy of leaving that money to one's family was to the person who left it, and it's not respected, and that's sad. So anyway, well, let's talk about now retirement. There's some retirees obviously on with us today, and there's some folks planning for retirement, and again, there's also family members you have that are working towards retirement. So I think it's important that we understand that we need to define what retirement really looks like for us, and we try to do that. What people we meet with, we need to understand what their incomes are, what their incomes will be needed, what incomes will be needed, and their expenses in retirement. And we need to also be able to plan for Social Security, and we create strategies to make sure we don't outlive our assets and fight inflation and taxes and markets volatility and all of that. So that if your children are in their 40s or even in their 50s in some cases, it's time to sit down and really start working on what is retirement going to look like for them. Well, how well are they planning? And what are the risks, and what do they need to know about retirement planning? One of the biggest things that most people overlook in retirement is dealing with health care. How am I going to plan for health care? What's our plan in place if we need a long-term care stay? These are conversations we need to have. Understand what our health insurance pays for and doesn't pay for, and what our Medicare options are when we get to that age. Taking care of our health, not taking the risks that we should take care of ourselves and not take personal risks, so that we don't incur a lot of expenses in the future. There's study after study. There's been a recent study by Fidelity that indicated that a couple at age 65 needed to set aside about $250,000 just for health care. Now, that's a lot of money, and I'm not so sure that we all do that. So it's a conversation we need to have, and these conversations are often hard to have, but we need to understand exactly what can impact our money as we retire, and how can we plan for it. Most of us want to leave something behind. We want to have a legacy. Not necessarily a legacy. To me, is not money. It's feelings. It's values. It's things we've been talking about already. How can we help our loved ones better? Not just give them a big chunk of money, but how can we help them have values that will help them make the proper decisions in their lives? And sometimes we really need to think about what are some of the goals that we have for our legacy. How do we want to be remembered, and what kind of things do we want to make sure that our family can take on and be a benefit to them in their lives. Who do you want to benefit from your hard work? What values do you want to pass on to them? Are you philanthropic? Is there something you want to give away? And how much and how can you involve your family right now in this? We've been doing this recently with a couple of clients where we're sitting down and starting to help them plan some things for their family. It's pretty exciting to be able to bring the family in and let's have candid conversations about how we want things to happen down the road. That's very, very important that we start doing that sooner than later. Okay. Shana mentioned something about a family mission statement. I'm not so sure that many families understand what it is. It's basically a statement about your values and goals and what you want to accomplish as a family. This could be husband and wife. It can be generational, and it should be generational, something you can pass on as a legacy. Here's a couple of comments from Franklin Covey, who wrote a great book, 7 Habits of Successful People, Highly Successful People, whatever it's called, 7 Habits. He also did one for families centered around the same concepts. Creating a mission statement helps you understand exactly what your why is in life. I believe that. We try to have a why here with our family and also with our business. What do we want to accomplish? The workbook we presented to you today has a section on how you go about doing this, not only for yourself, but how you can help your family members create a family mission statement. Uh, Franklin Covey, Stephen Covey, who wrote the book, made this comment: the goal of a mission statement is to create a clear, compelling vision of what you and your family are all about. It can be created and shared by every member of the family, not just parents or grandparents. You can keep the mission statement on your fridge, in your office, close at hand, review it regularly, etc. Use your mission statement to guide everyday living, legacy planning, and philanthropic ideas and practices. I think it's a great exercise to go through something like this to help you define exactly what kind of legacy you're trying to create and leave behind for your family. Here's an example of a family mission statement. Quote, it says, to live a life full of love, compassion, and adventure in a way that supports our community, enriches our faith, strengthens our character, and helps us grow closer as a family. Boy, it'd really be wonderful if we could all just kind of focus and bring our family together with a common goal and create a caring atmosphere amongst us that we can spread out to others. Some of the shared family values that we all are aware of, there's some noted here. Love, creativity, hard work, fun, adventure, education, faith, discipline, honesty, kindness, compassion, humor, community, integrity, service, passion. We can create something greater than us, that we can create a legacy that can be a benefit to generation after generation. What's missing today in our country, because of the disconnect and distances, families don't get together like they used to. And there's so many activities going on that, it seems like we're pulled from one direction or the other. And we just don't have that bonding that we had years ago with our grandparents and great grandparents. And so it's up to us to kind of do something on our own to kind of bring this all back together and create something that we would like to leave behind that's far more important than money. Now, some of you have family members that are still working. Here's some ideas that you can share with them about what they can be doing right now to make sure that they have a comfortable retirement. They can save for their future by developing a strategy for retirement right now, identifying some of the goals that they might have towards retirement. They should be making, certainly taking advantage of tax-deferred accounts. And as Shana mentioned earlier, get the match. And you too, I think, wanted to mention that. Get the match. That's free money. Put some money aside. Start saving some money. Prioritize your retirement, especially if you have to pay for college education for kids. Unlike college, there's no financial aid for retirement. It's what we've done. We don't get any aid for that. Protect our health and get professional help. We believe professional help is very, very important. Statistics bear out that the people who have good professional help navigate through retirement financially successful, more so than others. So it's a pretty well known statement. During our working years, sometimes some folks say, I can't wait to retire. I want to retire early. I'm meeting with some folks right now that want to retire at 55, 57. That doesn't mean they can't. It does create a little bit more of a challenge. A lot of things have to be done right. When you start thinking about retiring in your early 50s or late 50s, you got 30, 40 years plus that you have to deal with and planning for. So you need to start a lot earlier than most people are. So the question is, we can have the communication with our family and loved ones and ourselves if needed. How much money do we really need to have to retire? What does it look like? What am I going to do if I retire early? We need to be doing something. What are we going to be doing? How much does our desired lifestyle cost, not only now, but in the future? And can we really afford to live on our investments for 40, 50, or 60 years, depending on when we retire? And it's important to have a good foundation on your financial plan as you talk to your family members and loved ones. They're still working. They need to get promotions. They need to sharpen their skills so they can use their human capital. That's the most important thing they have when they're still working, is their skills and abilities to create a paycheck. They need to open retirement accounts and contribute to them. They need to figure out and have financial goals, and they need to stay out of debt as best they can. Today, it's easy to get in debt. People want things, and we've all seen it. We buy things that we don't necessarily need, and it actually burdens us moving forward. So we pretty much have talked about wealth itself and how we can pursue and help all generations be successful. I'm going to conclude just basically a couple of minutes talking about why professional help. Why is it important that we engage a professional to help us through it? Well, really, we got another pair of eyes that can help us analyze our current situation. And we can help offer and do offer personalization and advice and customize strategies for individuals. It's not a cookie cutter approach. We can also help you set realistic expectations for your financial future. And we can help monitor your progress. That's what a professional should be doing, helping somebody decide and understand what road they want to take, what goals they have, and putting a plan together to help them navigate through it. Now, there's some pitfalls that everybody's going to have at every stage of life. Shana talked a moment ago about having a conversation about the pluses and minuses that's happened to us financially with our family and loved ones. So there are pitfalls along the way. This is a recent survey statistically talking about different age group individuals right now. Baby boomers, most of our clients are in that field, born between 46 and 64. The statistics and studies show that they're unprepared for long-term health needs and are worried about postponing retirement, especially in light of the fact that we've had a downturn in the market again with this pandemic, COVID-19. A lot of folks are looking and say, can I retire now? The Gen Xers aren't saving enough for retirement and don't have an overall investment strategy. Most of them are just kind of winging it. That's pretty well known. The millennials, 81 to 96, don't have emergency savings at all and aren't investing early enough. There's a few of them that are really trying to turn that corner now. That's in the next generation coming up. Savings seems to be increasing. But we need to address these things with our family and loved ones so that they don't get bogged down and get to the point when they get ready to retire and can't retire because they haven't done enough. We can help. We're more than happy to sit down with you and your family members and them one-on-one. It doesn't matter, and help them understand where they are and what they need to be doing to get there. We can mentor them. We'd be happy to do so. We can objectively give guidance on specific issues about money, and we don't charge any fees for this. Our goal is to help you help them. And at some point in time in the future, if they want to engage us in our services, then obviously we'd be welcome that opportunity. So with that, I'm going to just throw it out. If there's any questions about any of the content we just went through, throw it in the chat box. Also, if you want to be able to download that piece, tell them how to do that, Shana.
It should have appeared in the chat box at the beginning, and then they just click on it, should download it. But if they have issues with that, you can just let us know, and we can email it to you as well.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments? You can put them in the chat box. If you like any of the information about the presentation, just send us an email or a chat box remark. I think if you'll download the handout, you'll see a lot of information there that you can help not only yourselves but your family and share it with them. If you need others of those, we can print them off and send them to you. If you want to do it that way, whatever you want to do. So I don't see any questions, Shana.
No, it looks like they were able to download everything. We do want to make you guys aware of our next upcoming ed event, though. That is on July 9th at 11:45. We're going to finally have our dance instruction. Miss Ellen Sappington's going to do that. And is it a dance studio or somewhere? Her home? I don't know. All I know is that my husband and I are asked to be the guinea pigs. So even if you aren't coming to learn to dance and you want comic relief, you can come July 9th at 11:45.
Also, upcoming educational events, we are going to do a online cooking presentation by Chef James Barwick. You'll be seeing that invitation pretty soon as well. we're going to have recipes of whatever he's going to be cooking, and he's going to give a step-by-step presentation online. And then you can go out with the recipe and buy your ingredients and cook it at home. So I wish we could do it in person, but well, you'll have to. That was a phone call from my wife. You have to listen to that, right? But anyway, Chef James coming up and dancing coming up. The good news about doing it virtually, everyone, nobody's going to see you.
That's right. Well, unfortunately, you'll see me.
You can see Shana and Carl make mistakes, but you won't make any. You and your lovely wife can just sit there and stand up and dance right up to your heart's content there without anybody worrying about that.
Well, not only that,
Okay.
since you guys can rewatch it, so like you're not just gonna have to try to remember how to do it that one time. You can rewatch it and practice some more. So
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. So we can all learn how to dance if we want to, at least the beginning steps with Shana and Carl as the demonstrators and Mrs. Sappington as the instructor. What was the date again?
July 9th at 11:45.
Okay. Y'all have a great weekend, and look forward to talking to you guys in a couple of weeks.
All right. See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.